If you're studying for the INBDE, I highly recommend INBDE Bootcamp, an all-in-one study resource that will help you pass your exam. Use coupon code MENTALDENTAL for 10% off. Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here. My name is Dr. Ryan, and welcome to Mental Dental. This is a place where I teach many aspects of dentistry, but also mentor you on your journey wherever that might be. In this video, I want to address the topic of imposter syndrome. And imposter syndrome is something that we can all struggle with from time to time, especially in a high achieving environment like the dental profession. Maybe you didn't know there was an exact term for this, but as I talk about it with you, you might realize, hey, you know what? I have experienced this before. And so we're going to talk about what imposter syndrome is and what you can do about it. So imposter syndrome is where you feel this internal anxious feeling that you aren't as competent as others think you are. Maybe you feel that you're just not skilled with your preparations and your restorations and other things involving your manual dexterity. Maybe you feel that you're just not intelligent or knowledgeable enough about dentistry. Or maybe you feel that you're just not comfortable talking to your patients in the dental chair, talking about the procedures that you're doing. And you can fill in the blank with many different other examples. But with those feelings of inadequacy, you start to feel that with enough time, people will discover this quote unquote truth about me, that I'm not as good at something as people perceive me to be. And this is not an official psychiatric diagnosis, by the way. This is simply a condition that many people in a high-performing setting feel, particularly when you're surrounded by a lot of high-performing individuals in dental school or on an online forum of people studying for the board exam and sharing practice questions with each other, or in a group dental practice where there are many different dentists, maybe some who have been in practice a lot longer than you have. All of these environments are an opportunity to potentially feel this imposter syndrome. But what can specifically cause it? What can specifically generate those feelings? Well, one example is a failure after a string of successes. A failure after a string of successes. So let's say that you're used to getting all A's and B's in your dental school or in undergraduate school. And then you take the INBDE board exam and you get a 74, just 1 point below the passing grade. Now that could cause feelings of inadequacy. Another example is you striving to be a perfectionist and putting this pressure on yourself that you have to perform at your absolute 100% best 100% of the time, which is very unreasonable. We all make mistakes. There's grace for that. That can generate feelings of imposter syndrome, trying to be perfect all the time and not living up to that perfection. And then a third example is falling into the trap of comparison. Nobody wins in comparison. You could think, well, everyone else is passing the exam. Why can't I do it? Or you read online that somebody passed the exam using just one resource. They only studied for 2 weeks, and you're over here spending 2 months studying, and you feel like you hardly put a dent in your studying schedule. And that could generate feelings of imposter syndrome or inadequacy. I don't belong here. This isn't the track for me. And these 3 examples that I gave you are very real things that other people have experienced, and maybe you're experiencing that right now. So what do you do instead? How do you overcome this imposter syndrome? Well, overcoming imposter syndrome comes down to a change in mindset. So imposters feel like they don't belong. So acknowledging that you do belong and you have earned your spot in this academic environment or this professional environment is the goal. And the starting point for that is to stop comparing yourself with other people. Rather, focus on your own personal, concrete achievements and strive to improve yourself. The only person you should be competing with is the you of yesterday. But if you're going to compare yourself with others, because I know sometimes we can't help ourselves, use it as a growth and learning opportunity, not as an exercise in self-pity. One of my favorite quotes of all time is, if you're the best person in the room, you're in the wrong room. How good is that, right? I shouldn't be the best person here because then I'm not being pushed to grow. I'm not in a position to learn from other people if I'm the best person there. So if you can't help yourself and you're comparing yourself to someone who you think is better at something or smarter than you, use that as a learning opportunity to learn from them and grow along with them. But I always go back to the best posture of competition is only with yourself. And then my other piece of advice is to expect to make mistakes along the way. Here's another great quote. Failure is not an option, it's essential. So if you want to be better, you have to make mistakes. And if you never make mistakes, you'll never grow and you'll never get better. So strive to continually improve and expect mistakes along the way. It's not pointless, it's part of your preparation. So that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from Charlotte, North Carolina. This is Dr. Ryan, and until next time, you do belong here and you do deserve success. And I'll see you in the next video.